Saying that dopamine makes you PMO is like saying that a car makes you drive it. You ultimately control your dopamine. The dopamine is just like a midway thing. And I'm not a neuroscientist, and you're probably thinking, what the fuck does this brown idiot know about fucking neuroscience? But let me give you an example to prove my point. Let's say, right, you think differently about something. Let's say these supplements here, this is vitamin C, alright? I believe that this is good for me. It's good to supplement with vitamin C, so I take these. So in the morning, my dopamine is released so that I am motivated to get the vitamin C, right? That makes sense. Dopamine is the molecule of motivation. So in the morning, I think I'm habituated to thinking, oh, I want my vitamin C. So I go and I get that and I pop one, right? Pop this cap open and I pop vitamin C. That makes sense, right? That's a basic loop. That's what we've been taught. Now with PMO, here's my point. Let's say, back with vitamin C, if I found information which said this vitamin C does fuck all, and in fact it actually negatively damages your gut lining or something like that, my reasoning for using the vitamin C would change. Because my reasoning changes, is the dopamine still released to motivate me to take that vitamin C? No, I would instantly stop. So do you see what's happened? We are ultimately in control of our dopamine release, because as our reasoning changes, our motivation changes. And all dopamine is, really, is that kind of mediator of motivation in the brain. So with PMO, people make the mistake of thinking that PMO is inherently motivating. With vitamin C, it's not inherently motivating, is it? It's just a tablet. But with PMO and masturbation and porn and women and sex, people think, oh, it's inherently going to release dopamine. This is a mistake. It's not true. Because all porn and masturbation is it's that physical sensation. And you evaluate that. And you evaluate the mental effects of porn, which I know don't exist. So I don't have dopamine release in anticipation of thinking it relieves stress. So similarly with the dopamine, with the vitamins, before, when I was a PMOer, I reasoned in my head, PMO helps in times of stress, when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling pissed off. PMO is a solution. I reasoned that in my head. That was a belief. That belief means that when I think about PMO in a time of stress, I conceive internally, I conceive this will make me feel better. And therefore, the dopamine is released. And therefore, I'm motivated towards it. But when that conception breaks down due to my own logic and reason, i.e., I reason, okay, can PMO actually affect my emotional state? Or is it me doing it and then giving PMO the credit? When I PMO, I feel an emotional relief. Okay? Is the porn doing that? Or am I doing that mentally? At the same time, and then I'm ascribing the value to the porn. So let's say I watch the porn mindfully. Am I still going to get my emotional relief? Or am I just going to get the physical sensation? I'm just going to get the physical sensation. So that means that porn doesn't cause emotional relief. So how does emotional relief occur? I won't get into the weeds here, but in the chapter 17 of Freedom Model, they talk about how emotions are an evaluation of the mind. And therefore, when you watch porn, your evaluation changes because you change it, and therefore your emotions change. The point being is that you can change your evaluations at will without the porn when it comes to emotional relief. If you can feel happy with the porn, you can feel happy without it. The exact same. Because you are the one ultimately in control of your happiness mentally, internally. Yet when you watch porn, you give porn the credit, which is the problem. That it goes through that in chapter 17 and 18. So to compare with the vitamin example, given that I deconstruct and I realize that porn isn't making me happy or giving me emotional relief, I'm the one doing that. All that porn does is give me that physical sensation. When I arrive at that conclusion by doing these little experiments and by thinking through chapter 17 and 18 and by reading the whole book and realizing, okay, I'm free, I'm making my own internal choices, I know that, I can sense that internally, I can see that, and I can also see that when I PMO and I feel that emotion wave, am I doing that? And I think, okay, is PMO just a physical sensation? If it is, I'm the one doing it, so I can do it without it. If I'm the one mentally feeling happy, I can just feel happy on my own. And then I do that, and then I realise that's true. And so slowly my conception that I had before, where I would look at PMO as though it's this cure, that gets deconstructed. And instead the cure is me in my own fucking head. Right? So now, my question is my dopamine still being released in anticipation of the porn now? Or is the dopamine being released in anticipation of me wanting to feel good internally without porn? If the porn was causing dopamine release, why am I not motivated towards it anymore? Therefore, I'm in control of my dopamine. Because as my conception changes, as my perspective shifts, just like with the vitamins, the same thing can happen with porn. So the lie we've been told is that porn inherently releases dopamine and you're inherently going to be motivated towards it, and drugs do this as well, is not true. Because as your conception of it changes, your picture of it in your mind, in anticipation, changes, you're not as motivated towards it anymore. There's less dopamine, but do you see how you're the one who's in control of the dopamine release because you're in control of the picture? In reality, we don't even need the word dopamine, we can just use the word motivation. You're not motivated towards porn anymore because the reward that you anticipate, you realise you're not getting it from the porn, you're getting it from your fucking own head, and you can do it without it. So then you're motivated towards it less. All that porn and masturbation is the physical sensation. Anything auxiliary is coming from you, right? So this is a big brain moment, and I didn't come up with this, I'm no genius. The Freedom Model guys, they did this, they spent a lot of time on this, so read their book. I hope that describes this whole dopamine mess in a bit more detail. And you can see how it's your conception that's motivating you. It's your internal decision-making process. The problem is that you believe it's objective, you believe it's causal, you believe that porn causes it. You are causing it because of your ideas that you've bought into. And who's put these ideas into your head? NoFap and neuroscientists. Do you see how porn isn't the problem? It's your conception of porn that's the problem. And therefore, if it's your conception, your conception, you can change it. It's yours, buddy. It's all yours. And fair enough, NoFap kind of convinced you of it, but just as you've been convinced of something, you can become unconvinced. And as you become unconvinced, your motivation towards it will dwindle, and you're not going to see it as this magical portal to happiness. You're going to see it for what it fucking is. Physical sensation. Quite a pleasant physical sensation. Masturbation, penile pleasure, but a physical sensation nonetheless, not a mental, not something that can go into your mind and change how you view the world at will. That's magic. That doesn't exist. Okay? Like this vid, share it, because I think that this one's actually a banger. Share it with all your buddies, and subscribe to this channel, because we need to grow this shit. And I'm going to be releasing more videos to fucking help you out. Right? Understand this. This is key. Right? That's it.